Before we begin, pause. Actually pause. Let your shoulders drop. Unclench your jaw. If you can, grab a coffee, tea, or just something to hold while your thoughts drift. You don't need to agree with anything. You don't need to reach a conclusion. Just listen. If this video makes you stare into space for a moment longer than usual, like it. Leave a comment with what unsettled you most, and share it with someone who says, "I'm not the same person I used to be." Okay, here's the question. Are you the same person you were 5 years ago? Not metaphorically, not emotionally, I mean literally. Are you, the thing reading these words right now, the same entity that existed in your body years ago? Because intuitively, the answer feels obvious. Yes, of course you are. But biology, neuroscience, and philosophy are quietly screaming, maybe not. Let's start with your body. Every cell in your body is replaced over time. Skin cells last weeks, gut lining days, red blood cells months. Even your bones are constantly being remodeled. After about 7 to 10 years, almost none of the original atoms that made up your body remain, which means the physical matter composing you is in constant flux. You are not a fixed object. You are a process. Okay, but maybe identity isn't about atoms. Maybe it's about the brain. So let's go there. Your brain is plastic. Synapses strengthen and weaken. New connections form. Old ones disappear. Memories are not stored like files. They are reconstructed every time you recall them. Which means remembering is also rewriting. Every time you remember who you are, you subtly change who you are. There is no stable snapshot, no original version, no final draft. Now consider this. If every part of you changes, body, brain, memories, what exactly stays the same? What makes you, you? Most people answer continuity of consciousness, the feeling of being the same observer over time. But here's the problem. You lose consciousness every night. Deep sleep, anesthesia, unconsciousness. There are gaps. If continuity is required for identity, then you die every time you sleep. And yet, it doesn't feel that way. You wake up and assume continuity, but assumption is not proof. So what actually connects past you to present you? Let's try a thought experiment. Imagine a perfect copy of you is created right now. Same memories, same personality, same thoughts. Which one is you? Both would insist they are. From the inside, they're indistinguishable. But they can't both be the same person. Identity breaks. Now imagine something less extreme. Imagine your memories are slowly altered over time. Not erased, just changed. At what point do you stop being you? Is there a threshold? Or does identity fade gradually without a clear boundary? This is known as the ship of Theseus problem. If you replace every plank of a ship over time, is it still the same ship? There is no objectively correct answer. Identity is not a physical property. It's a concept. Now let's talk about the self. Neuroscience has never found a self-center in the brain. There is no single place where you live. Instead, the sense of self is constructed from many processes: memory, attention, emotion, bodily awareness, narrative. It's a model. A story your brain tells itself to keep behavior coherent. Which means the self is not a thing. It's an activity. Now this sounds destabilizing. If there's no fixed self, does anything matter? But stay with me. Think about a flame. A flame has identity. You can point to it and say, that's the same flame. But the atoms burning are constantly changing. The flame persists because the pattern persists. You are like that. A dynamic pattern, not a static object. Now let's make it more uncomfortable. Your personality is not stable.
Studies show that traits like openness, conscientiousness, even introversion can change significantly over time. Your values shift, your beliefs evolve, your fears change, which means the person you'll be in 10 years may disagree with the person you are now about fundamental things. So when you make a promise to your future self, who are you making it to? Now consider moral responsibility. We punish people for crimes they committed years ago. But if the self is a changing pattern, is that fair? Legally, we say yes. Philosophically, it's complicated. But here's the key. Identity doesn't need to be absolute to be functional. We treat identity as continuous because it works. It allows planning, it allows responsibility, it allows relationships, it allows meaning. But it doesn't mean the self is fixed. Now let's bring memory back into this. Your memories feel like evidence of continuity, but memory is unreliable. You misremember events. You confabulate details. You reinterpret the past through your current beliefs, which means the story of who you've been is constantly rewritten. Your identity is a narrative, and like all narratives, it is selective. Now here's the paradox. Even though there is no permanent self, you still experience being someone. Right now. That experience is real. The illusion, if it is one, is unavoidable and necessary. A system without a sense of self cannot plan, care, or survive effectively. So evolution built one. Not because it's true, but because it's useful. Now let's ask the dangerous question. If you're not the same person over time, why care about the future? Why save money? Why avoid harm? Why plan? Here's the answer. Because future you is similar enough. Identity doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to overlap. You care about future you the same way you care about other people. Through empathy, through projection, through continuity of values. Now flip it around. If past you is not identical to present you, why feel guilt? Why feel pride? Because those emotions shape the pattern. They influence future behavior. They're tools, not metaphysical judgments. Now here's the unsettling thought. You are not a thing traveling through time. You are a series of moments linked by memory and causation. Each you exists briefly, then hands off existence to the next. Like frames in a movie. There is no single frame that is the movie, but together they create one. Now pause. This means something profound. You don't have to be loyal to who you were. You don't owe consistency to outdated versions of yourself. Growth is not betrayal. Change is not failure. It's the process continuing. Now let's go even deeper. When people fear death, they often fear the loss of self. But if the self is already a temporary pattern, then death is not the destruction of a thing. It's the end of a process. And processes end all the time. That doesn't make them meaningless. A song doesn't become pointless because it ends. Now here's the strange comfort. If there is no permanent self, then there is also no permanent mistake. No eternal version of you frozen in failure. Every moment the pattern updates. You are always becoming. Which means identity is less about what you are and more about what you're doing. Right now. Now let's bring this back to everyday life. When someone says, "I'm not the same person anymore," they're right. But they're also wrong. They are the continuation of something. A process with memory. A pattern with direction. And that's enough. Now consider this final thought. If you met yourself from 10 years ago, would you recognize them? Would you agree with them? Would you forgive them? That answer tells you something important. Not about who you were, but about who you're becoming. So are you the same person you were? No. And yes, you are not a fixed entity. You are a flowing pattern. A story told by a brain inside a changing body, embedded in a changing universe. And that story doesn't need permanence to matter. It just needs to keep going. If this made you rethink who you are, like the video, leave a comment with whether you feel more connected to your past self or your future one. And share this with someone who's changed more than they expected. Now pause. This version of you, right now, it's already passing.